here's the place where it goes up and here's the place where it goes down. This X, this blue X that I just made in the middle, that is a node. It's a place where the string didn't go up and it didn't go down. And these harmonic nodes, let's draw a little pyramid of what they end up being structured like. This is all like super crude, but you understand what I'm talking about. So here's one node. Now here's two nodes. Now let's do another one. 3 nodes. I'm almost done with this recording back here, but I hope that you are starting to understand the more waves that we have, the more nodes that we have. And those nodes have everything to do with the circles fitting together harmonically and perfectly. I'm putting my fingers here so that you can see there are no feet sticking over the edge of the bed. Let me pause this recording in the background and then get going on the next half. There, save it, save it. Good, saving. Your chakras are also arranged according to these nodes. And let me get my special picture and show you on the actual artwork too, because I think you can see the details maybe a little bit better in person. Hold on one second. Oh, how frustrating, because I just had that image right there. Let me get, you saw it, I had the image there. Here's a different one that will also work perfectly well, and here's the actual image in real life. So, your chakras are just like musical notes. They are meant to nest together perfectly, and where they have these harmonic nodes affects your perception and energy patterns. So starting off with this. Here we go. I hope you can see. So this that I'm pointing to, this is the edge of the yellow chakra, and you can see that it is resting on the bottom edge of this. This is the orange chakra that I'm pointing to here. So this, it's kind of like a frown, like an upside down smiley face. That line right there is a membrane, and that edge of the yellow chakra rests upon that lower edge of that membrane. And if you look over here, this is green. The lower edge of the green chakra, that, you know, wheel-like structure, rests in that node where the top edge, or like the smiley face of orange, matches up with the frowny smile, the upside down smile of the yellow, and the green matches up right there. These are crucial mathematics. Just getting my recording going. These are crucial mathematics of your chakras. Like when I have been making these drawings and doing these paintings, I've understood it all in terms of visuals and in terms of the chakras. And now, of course, I'm understanding it in terms of music. So another, here, I'll use this back here. I feel like I'm jumping around a lot, but I'm trying to get you to understand this. For example, green is the level of the heart, and that is a, just trying to see if this is a good example. Some of my drawings are more accurate than others of my drawings. Okay, all right. Here's a better example, and I'll draw it out in heavy, exaggerated lines so you can see it. So those are the bubbles that make up the chakra of indigo, the brow chakra. And now let me get green. This is the smiley face, the happy smile of the heart chakra. And so I'm trying to create vocabulary words here. You know, when I draw the chakras and when I refer to the chakras, I usually refer to these hourglass shapes as the actual chakras. But the chakras also have like a bubble. Like you could imagine that there is a bubble that is extending upward here that I simply have not represented. So back here in this drawing, you know, I've got these two bubbles, right? And in here, this is where the apple core or hourglass shape is. All of this, a lot of flapping mouth parts in order to describe all of this so that you can see the bubble of the indigo chakra is nestled or cupped within the upper membrane of the unconditional love chakra. And all of this matters because I've said it many times. In order to begin to activate your higher faculties, the indigo chakra, you have to create a firm foundation of unconditional love. Literally, the spinning energy fields of unconditional love create a base, like a foundation, that your other energy fields nest within and structure within. On this drawing that I've got over here, I'm just going to use white so that hopefully you can see this. And then I'll erase too. This lower level, like the frowny smile, the frowny, unhappy smile of the orange chakra, has a node. I'm making a giant white X at that node where it coincides with the lower, because I'm trying to choose the right words here, lower edge of the hourglass shape of the yellow chakra. This means that yellow is the level of your conscious intellect. Your conscious intellect has an interaction with, a harmonic interaction with your mammalian emotions. Now we're starting to see how this has an impact. What you feel has an impact on what you think. That's what this means. Graphic representation. The way that your orange chakra is shaped and its orientation has an impact on what you think in your conscious mind. The way that your heart, unconditional love, is oriented, or how strong a foundation you have, has everything to do with where your brow chakra is situated and whether it is functioning correctly. Same thing with your violet chakra. I don't have it on here, but if I extended this, the circle that is created by, and that creates the violet chakra, would come down about like this and would nest perfectly within the chakra of the intellect. Let me look for a picture that will show you this better. Let me just get another picture up. Oops. Hold on a second. I know right where this picture is, so it'll be easy to get. Here. So this is another example, and I just have to exaggerate this. You have, this is your brow chakra, and these lower edges here, these are like wheels, and they are spinning around in a track, and the track is literally created by the emanations of the heart. This reaches up and creates like a cleft that the apparatus of your higher consciousness sits within. All of this is to understand that you are harmonics. Your chakras are all about harmonics and the way that when your chakras are arranged in a state of health. Oh, I'll get to your question in a second. When your chakras are arranged in a state of health, it means that they are arranged harmonically. It means that they are all nested in their proper proportions and there are no extra things hanging over the edges. Okay, question from the chat. The question is there an arrangement of chakras that allows feelings to be processed more quickly and let go of? Absolutely. And it would be a question of the orientation. So chakras that are oriented, in alignment like this are functioning well. If they are canted slightly, that's when they are less efficient in their functioning. It's almost like if this was like a tube and water can flow through it very easily if it is oriented in the direction of the flow of the water. But if this is like a tube and we shift it, then all of a sudden we have, a little bit of water coming in through here, but then we also have a lot of friction, and the fluid dynamics that govern the movement of water are very similar to the dynamics that govern energy as it is flowing. So in the same way that water can develop eddies and turbulence, so too can your energy, when it is flowing, develop eddies or little whirlpools or turbulence. And so engineers are finding out that there is an optimum structure to creating, faucets and ways of carrying water so that the water travels in the most efficient way possible. And often it has to do with creating vortexes, that if you create a tube in the right way and you fashion the tubes together in the right way, that the water will be moving in vortexes and it will have an easier path and have less friction, both internal and within the structure that it's within. It's the same thing with your energy body, with your non-physical flow of energy. The non-physical energy is very similar to water, and I say your chakras are similar to water wheels, and when they are all aligned properly, the water flows well from one wheel into the next wheel and into the next wheel. That's a good segue for me to get into what's going on with our solar system, because our solar system has had sad things happen to it. I'm going to draw a sun at the middle. Like if this is the sun at the middle, and harmonics tells us that we're supposed to have planets at regular intervals. And the regular intervals are just like the notes on a scale. Everything is pattern. When we talk about music, the difference between music and noise, music follows patterns. That's a pattern. When we are talking about energy, like the planets in our solar system are also arranged according to a pattern of harmonics. And just like the vibrating plate of cymatics, a plate that is vibrating with little sand molecules on it, well, in the cosmos, a long time ago, it was tons of vibrating balls of dust and gas on a cosmic level, and waves of consciousness came through these balls of dust and gas and were organizing principles. And just like amplitude, the interference pattern that is created by light waves as they crisscross, and we have areas of light and dark, or amplitude and negation, same thing happens with the creation of the planets and the planetary structure. We have the sun at the center, and then these various orbits are the places where the particles could comfortably vibrate to. And the areas in between the planets are the areas where molecules could not comfortably vibrate. And if we look at the scale, like I just want to make a little bit of space, like if we look at the scale, and this is the sun, here on the left, and this is everything moving outward from the sun, the planets that are close to the sun are pretty close together. And then as we get further from the sun, they get further apart, further apart, further apart until they're much, much, much further apart. It's exactly the same as the chakra system. So we are now understanding that like the planet Mercury would be analogous to the crown chakra, like the smallest, highest frequency chakra that is circulating around the center of our solar system. And so all of this is about why do we have an asteroid belt? Aurora, why do we have an asteroid belt? And the answer is, like if this little red guy is Mars, and let's choose a big Jupiter color, this big purple guy over here is Jupiter. This area in between Mars and Jupiter is filled with a bunch of asteroids and is known as the asteroid belt. And it occupies the area where, according to harmonics, we would expect to find a planet. But there's not a planet. There's the remains of a planet. So we can now understand with science and with our own intuitive understanding that there's supposed to be a healthy functioning chakra in our solar system. There is not one. Instead, there's the evidence of the destruction of a chakra. It tells us that something happened there in the history of this body. And the body is the sun's body. It's the heliosphere, the giant chakra system that we live within, the physical structure that is, you know, the consciousness, that's the star that we are part of. So our star has emanated all of these consciousnesses and all of these events. Not all of the events have been good or pretty or nice, and some of them have been very destructive. It's like saying our star has been having a dream, and some of the dream has been a nightmare where bad things happened. So there used to be a planet that was harmonically situated in our solar system, and it was destroyed. And then I speak about this in Galactic History of Lesson 18 of the first level, how consciousness then, you know, created an ersatz or artificial world that it could inhabit on Mars, and how that had an impact on Mars. So here we've got Mars does not have a magnetic field. Venus does not have a magnetic field. That tells us that those two planets were killed. They were destroyed. They might still have a physical corpse, but the energy that surrounded them and animated them was degraded. And we have one planet that doesn't even exist anymore. It's not even a corpse. It's like a bunch of molecules floating around in space. And all of that, this is the story of consciousness, what has brought us up to this moment in, you know, the history of our own development as individuals and the history of solar consciousness. So we need a healing within our solar system. I'm trying to, like, it is taken as a natural matter of fact, like, yes, the asteroid belt, like, no, not the asteroid belt. That would be like pointing to the bloody stump, like, yeah, and then you turn left at the bloody stump, like, no, there's not supposed to be a bloody stump there. There's supposed to be a beautiful planet that is circulating there. So we can say that we live in a solar system that has chakras that are not in a healthy alignment, and that has had an impact on our individual journeys and the culture that we live within. So there's another question from the chat here. Mike says, this might be a real stretch, but is Mars connected to the heart chakra of the solar system somehow, since it's fourth from the sun, assuming the solar system has a chakra system? Thank you for this beautiful question. Yes, the solar system has a chakra system. And yes, we should be able to correlate the different consciousnesses on each planet with different layers or levels of being. However, we can't be too literal, because I would not say that Mars is the level of unconditional love and heart. I wish that it were like a totally perfect transposition, that I could simply transpose the understanding of the human chakra system onto the solar system. But I feel that I cannot do that because I associate Mars with the energy of aggression that has come and invaded our orange and yellow chakras, so I would equate it to be more connected to those chakras. But in terms, like, it would be hard, I would be hard pressed to make a literal transposition is the best word I can use, imposing the chakras onto the planets by their physical, where they are in space, and then the characteristics of each chakra and what it's supposed to be onto each planet. Like, it would be hard for me to do that, but I wish that it was a system that worked that perfectly. The most neutral way for me to say it is to say that each planet does embody or represent a particular characteristic in the same way that each one of our chakras represents a particular era or plane of consciousness that we are exploring. But I don't know if I can correlate it that seamlessly. Yes, so this is also why it's difficult. So Lucy says Venus is supposed to be about love. So Venus is supposed to be about romantic love, not necessarily about, unconditional love. And a lot of our associations with the planets come from ancient cultures, like from Greco-Roman culture, and a lot of that is distorted. Like, it is not, it's like myths and stories that come from our chakras after they're out of alignment, not when they are in divine alignment. And I also wanted to bring up something else. So I've been speaking all about the 7 colors of the chakras and, the notes on the scale, as if there are 7 or 8 notes. But there are actually 13 notes in the scale. So here's 8 notes in the octave. Right? Here's all of the notes in the octave. Got it? Because we've got not only the white keys, we've also got the black keys. And the black keys are the sharps and the flats. Let me bring up a picture in case you are not familiar with what a keyboard looks like. In case you are from another planet and you're not familiar with what a keyboard looks like, the rainbow colored keys are usually white and the black keys are the sharps and flats. And these would be analogous to sub-chakras on the body. So we have major energy centers on the body. That's these that I draw all the time. And that's a simplification. I have a friend, and when my friend was learning to play the piano, his teacher only allowed him to do songs that involved the white keys. And I was playing a different song to him, and he's like, I'm not allowed to use the black keys yet. And I was like, I don't know how you can make a song without being able to use all of the keys on the keyboard. But it was a simplification from his teacher. So I have been simplifying in my presentation of what the chakras are. But we also have to understand that that's diminished understanding, and that when we are now in the advanced class, what we really need to get to is the understanding that just like there's a note between C and D, that is C sharp or D flat, there's a color between red and orange, that is a slightly more orangey red or a slightly darker orange. So there are these sub-chakras within your chakra system, and it branches and it gets to even finer and finer levels of branching and greater degrees of complexity, just like in my paintings. So you have an overarching pattern of like a 6-inch circle with a 2-inch circle and a 4-inch circle inside of that. But you know something? You could express these same harmonic patterns within a 12-inch circle. If I had a 12-inch circle, half of that would be a 6-inch circle. If I had a 12-inch circle, 2/3 of it would be an 8-inch circle. And then my little circle over here would be a 4-inch circle. So I can express these same proportions, sized up or sized down, throughout the spectrum. And that's what we're experiencing with music, and that's what we are experiencing with consciousness. We live within a spectrum of consciousness. So we live within the human octave, but there is a higher octave. And this is what I'm referring to when I talk about higher dimensional, less dense realms. They are not necessarily populated by people who know everything or are better than you. They're populated by people who are vibrating at a higher rate, at a higher octave. So I want to open the floor to questions or comments or anything. I'm going to unmute everyone except for Ed because he gives me, here we go. I'm unmuting everyone except for Ed because that gives. If you have any comments or questions or things that I can make more clear, I would definitely like to do that because I'm never sure when I'm sending out how it's being received. Oh, and I know actually earlier, I think Ed had some good questions about the significance of where the chakras fit together and what that means. So there was a question about, like, what does it mean if the green chakra fits together at that node with the mind and emotion chakra? And basically what it means is that there's an interplay. Any place where these waves fit together harmonically, it means that there is an interplay of those consciousnesses or forces at that place. So when your body is in good tune, your chakras are all affecting one another. They are keeping things flowing. And when the chakras are out of alignment, or one chakra is out of alignment, you can understand how that begins to affect the tuning of all of the other chakras. That's within your own physical presence. Now let's take that analogy and send it out to the solar system. We've got an asteroid belt instead of a chakra. That is affecting the calibration of all of the other planets of our solar system. So now let's say within our planet, let's say that there's a group of people or a certain amount of people that are askew or not in divine alignment. Their chakras and their vibration are affecting the rest of the planet. This is everything about interdimensional ethics now. Now we understand how much we are affecting others with our vibration and being affected by others with our vibration. There's no such thing as being a non-combatant or a non-participant. If you are here, you're affecting others and being affected by others. This is it. This is like the basic first chakra story is I exist, and I'm allowed to exist, and I'm allowed to exist and have an impact on the world due to my existence. And then, of course, the subtle layers that we build up on top of that. I'm going to pause the recording in the background.